There is a silent law that governs the universe, a mechanism so vast, so pervasive, and so absolute that it dictates the movement of the stars, the changing of the seasons, and the destiny of every man and woman who walks this earth. Look around you. The oak tree does not struggle to grow. It follows a pattern engraved in its seed, amplified by the soil and the sun. The river does not wonder which way to flow. It follows the path of least resistance, carving a canyon over centuries through the sheer power of repetition. The planets do not hesitate in their orbits. They are held by a gravitational grip that keeps them in perfect, rhythmic order. Nature is not chaotic. Nature is a machine of absolute precision. And yet you struggle. You wake up with a burning desire to change, to build, to conquer, only to find yourself, weeks later, back in the same rut, thinking the same thoughts, fighting the same battles, enslaved by the same limitations. You ask yourself why willpower is not enough. You wonder why the burst of motivation you felt on New Year's Day dissolved into the gray fog of February. You blame your discipline. You blame your circumstances. But you are looking at the surface. You are fighting the waves while ignoring the tide. The truth is, you are fighting against the most powerful force in nature. Napoleon Hill called it cosmic habit force. It is the law that takes every action, every thought, and every emotion you repeat, and makes it permanent. It is the cosmic glue that binds your habits to your identity. It is the force that prevents the drifter from changing his course, but it is also the force that makes the successful man unstoppable. Understand this cosmic habit force is neither good nor evil. It is an amplifier. It is a blind servant. It does not care if you are building a fortune or digging a grave. It only cares about one thing: repetition. Whatever you do, whatever you think, whatever you feel repeatedly, this force seizes upon it and makes it automatic. It takes the difficult and makes it easy. It takes the conscious effort and turns it into unconscious reflex. This is the secret that the masters of history knew. They did not succeed because they had more willpower than you. Willpower is a battery. It drains. It dies. You cannot build an empire on willpower alone. You cannot transform your body, your bank account, or your mind solely by gritting your teeth. The masters succeeded because they understood how to harness this law. They used their will not to fight the river, but to dig a new channel. And once that channel was dug, once the water began to flow, cosmic habit force took over, and the momentum became irresistible. Imagine your mind as a dense, untouched forest. To walk through it the first time requires immense effort. You must hack through the vines, step over the roots, and push aside the branches. It is slow. It is painful. It is exhausting. This is the beginning of any new habit. This is the first time you go to the gym, the first time you sit down to write, the first time you resist the urge to complain. Your brain resists. It screams for comfort. It wants to go back to the old path. But if you walk that same path the next day, the vines are already cut. The grass is trampled. It is slightly easier. If you walk it for 30 days, a trail begins to form. If you walk it for 90 days, the dirt is packed hard. The path is clear. And if you walk it for a year, it becomes a road. Cosmic habit force has taken the struggle out of the journey. You no longer have to think about where to step. You simply walk. Most people, however, are walking the wrong paths. They have let their minds drift. They have allowed the weeds of fear, procrastination, and mediocrity to grow into thick, impassable jungles, while wearing deep, comfortable ruts into the road of failure. They wake up and check their phone. Habit. They eat food that poisons their energy. Habit. They speak words of doubt. Habit. They procrastinate on their dreams. Habit. And because they have repeated these things for years, cosmic habit force has locked them in. It has built a prison around them, not of iron bars, but of neural pathways. They try to break out, they try to change, but the gravitational pull of their old self is too strong. They are like a rocket that does not have enough fuel to escape the atmosphere, crashing back down to Earth, convinced that flight is impossible. But flight is not impossible. You simply need enough thrust to break the orbit. You need to understand that you are the architect of your own momentum. You are not the victim of your habits. You are the creator of them. But you must respect the law. You cannot cheat it. You cannot negotiate with it. You must use it. The process of automating your destiny begins with a decision so sharp, so final, that it cuts through the noise of your past. You must decide what you want, not what you think you can get, not what others say you deserve, but what you demand from this life. This is your definite chief aim. Without a target, the force has nothing to guide it. A ship without a rudder does not go straight, it circles. And a man without a purpose drifts. Drifting is the disease of the modern age. It is the hypnotic rhythm of doing what everyone else does, thinking what everyone else thinks, and expecting a different result. The drifter is swept along by the collective habits of the masses. The habit of consuming instead of creating, the habit of complaining instead of solving, the habit of fearing instead of daring. The drifter is asleep at the wheel, letting the current of circumstance carry him toward the waterfall. To automate your success, you must wake up. You must grab the wheel. You must understand that every single thought you entertain is a seed. And the soil of your mind is fertile. It does not discriminate. If you plant corn, you get corn. If you plant nightshade, you get poison. Cosmic habit force is the sunlight and the rain. It will grow whatever you plant with absolute abundance. If you plant fear, you will harvest a forest of terror. If you plant faith, you will harvest a kingdom of power. This is why you must stand guard at the doors of your mind. You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought. You cannot afford to indulge in self-pity. When you say, "I am tired," the force says, "Yes, you are tired," and it makes your body heavy. When you say, "I cannot do this," the force says, "Agreed," and it shuts down your creativity. But when you stand in the face of adversity, when the world is crumbling around you, and you say, "I will find a way," the force pivots, it aligns, it begins to look for the solution. You are building a machine. That is what a habit is, a machine that produces a result without your constant supervision. Do you think Thomas Edison had to force himself to work every day? No. Work was his breath. Invention was his rhythm. Do you think an Olympic athlete has to debate with themselves every morning about whether to train? No. The training is who they are. The decision was made years ago. The habit took over. The force is now carrying them. The goal of your life is to reach the point where success is not a struggle, but a reflex. You want to reach the state where working on your dream is harder not to do than to do. You want your discipline to be as automatic as your heartbeat. This is the promise of cosmic habit force. It offers you a trade. Give me your focused, intense, disciplined effort for a season, and I will give you a lifetime of momentum. But the price must be paid in advance. You cannot trick the universe. You cannot fake the frequency. You must show up when no one is watching. You must do the work when you are exhausted. You must hold the vision when the reality looks like a nightmare. This is the escape velocity phase. This is where most people fail. They push for a week. They don't see the result, and they let the gravity pull them back. They do not understand the lag time. There is always a delay between the sowing and the reaping. When you plant a seed, you do not see the sprout the next morning. But underneath the soil, in the dark, something is happening. The shell is cracking. The roots are pushing down. The life is mobilizing. You are in the dark right now. You are putting in the work and seeing nothing. You are speaking the affirmations and feeling foolish. You are visualizing the wealth and checking an empty bank account. Hold the line. This is the test. The universe is asking, do you really want this? Or are you just interested? Because the force only responds to obsession. It only responds to a burning desire that refuses to be extinguished. It is waiting for you to prove that you are serious. And the moment you prove it, the moment you push past the point where the old you would have quit, something shifts. The gears lock into place. The wind catches the sail. The struggle begins to fade, and the flow begins to take over. This transformation requires a rewiring of your self-image. You cannot outperform your own belief system. If you see yourself as a victim, cosmic habit force will constantly arrange circumstances to prove you right. It will attract the people, the problems, and the pain that confirm your identity as a victim. But if you begin to see yourself as a master, as a creator, as a force of nature, the law will begin to rearrange the world to fit that picture. You must visualize this new self with such intensity that it becomes more real than your current reality. You must see the person you are becoming. How do they walk? How do they speak? How do they handle defeat? How do they manage their time? You must step into that avatar. You must act as if you are already that person. Fake it until you make it is not just a catchy phrase. It is a neurological strategy. By acting the part, you are signaling to your nervous system and to the cosmos itself that this is the new standard. Every time you resist an urge to slack off, you are casting a vote for this new identity. Every time you choose the apple over the cake, the book over the television, the work over the distraction, you are strengthening the signal. You are deepening the riverbed. At first, it is a trickle. Then it is a stream. Then a raging river. And finally, it is an ocean of inevitability. Think of the mighty rivers of the world. The Amazon, the Nile, the Mississippi. They did not start as giants. They started as tiny drops of rain high in the mountains. But gravity took hold. One drop joined another. They found a path. They gathered speed. And now, nothing can stop them. They move millions of gallons of water every second with effortless power. They do not strain. They flow. You are building your river. Right now, you are gathering the drops. It feels insignificant. It feels small. But do not despise the day of small beginnings. The law of cosmic habit force is working. It is always working. It is recording every input. It is calculating every trajectory. And it is preparing to launch you into a new orbit. The turning point comes when you stop negotiating with yourself. You know the voice. The one that says, just 5 more minutes of sleep. Just one cheat day. I'll start on Monday. That voice is the enemy. That voice is the echo of your old habits trying to survive. You must kill that voice. You must replace it with a command. I do what I say I will do. I am a person of my word. I am disciplined. When you stop negotiating, you free up energy. Decision fatigue is real. If you have to decide every single day whether to do the right thing, you will eventually break. But if you decide once, if you make it a non-negotiable law of your life, the decision is made. The energy is saved. And that energy can be poured into creation, into growth, into mastery. This is how you automate destiny. You set the coordinates. You lock in the autopilot. You fuel the engine with repetition. And then you let the cosmic currents carry you. But you must remain vigilant. The gravitational pull of mediocrity is always there, waiting for you to cut the engines. You can never become complacent. The moment you stop growing, you start dying. The moment you stop swimming, you start drifting downstream. Life is motion. Nothing stands still. You are either climbing or falling. You are either tightening your grip on success or letting it slip through your fingers. The law of cosmic habit force ensures that whichever direction you choose, you will accelerate in that direction. The rich get richer, not just in money, but in habits of wealth. The poor get poorer, not just in coin, but in habits of poverty. Success leaves clues, but more importantly, success leaves ruts, grooves in the fabric of reality that make it easier to succeed again. You are standing at the edge of your potential. The old version of you is fighting to stay alive. It is using fear, doubt, and comfort to keep you small. But the new version of you, the one who understands the law, is ready to emerge. It is ready to harness the power that spins the planets. It is ready to align with the rhythm of greatness. Do not wait for the perfect time. The perfect time is a myth. The time is now. The place is here. The force is ready. The question is, are you? Are you ready to endure the friction of change to gain the momentum of destiny? Are you ready to walk through the fire of discipline to reach the paradise of automation? The universe is waiting for your command. Give it. But a command spoken without conviction is merely a wish, and the universe does not grant wishes. It grants beliefs. This is where the true work begins. You must understand that the mechanism of cosmic habit force does not operate on the surface level of your conscious mind. It operates in the deep, dark, fertile soil of the subconscious. Your conscious mind is the captain on the bridge of the ship, barking orders, looking at charts, analyzing the weather. But the subconscious mind is the crew in the engine room. They do not see the ocean. They do not question the destination. They simply follow the orders sent down from the bridge. If the captain screams, "Full speed ahead," but deep down he is terrified of crashing, his voice will tremble. The crew will sense the hesitation. They will not stoke the fires with full intensity. You have been giving mixed signals to your engine room for decades. You say, "I want to be wealthy," but your subconscious holds a deep-seated belief that money is evil, or that you are unworthy of it. You say, "I want love," but your internal program is running a script of abandonment. The cosmic habit force is confused. It cancels out your desires with your fears, leaving you stuck in the deadlock of mediocrity. To automate your destiny, you must align the captain and the crew. You must synchronize your conscious desire with your subconscious belief. This is the principle of auto-suggestion. It is the tool that Napoleon Hill identified as the medium for influencing the subconscious mind. You are already using it. You use it every time you look in the mirror and sigh at your reflection. You use it every time you tell your friends, "I'm just not good with numbers," or "Bad things always happen to me." You are hypnotizing yourself into failure. You are chanting the liturgy of the loser. And the universe is shouting, "Amen." You must seize the microphone of your mind. You must begin a campaign of propaganda against your own doubts. You must tell yourself who you are before you are that person. This feels like a lie at first. Good. Lie to yourself until the lie becomes the truth. The subconscious cannot tell the difference between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined. If you feed it a picture of success wrapped in the emotion of gratitude and faith, it will accept that picture as reality. It will begin to adjust your vibrational frequency to match that reality. Think of the radio. The air around you right now is filled with music, with voices, with news, with frequencies from all over the world. You cannot hear them, you cannot see them, but they are there. To hear the jazz station, you must tune your receiver to the exact frequency of the broadcast. If you are 1 degree off, you get static. If you are tuned to the rock station, you cannot pray for jazz and expect to hear it. You must change the dial. Your mind is a transceiver. You are constantly broadcasting a frequency into the ether, and you are constantly receiving the physical equivalent of that frequency back into your life. Faith is the dial. Faith is not a religious dogma. It is a state of mind. It is the ability to see the invisible, to believe in the incredible, and to receive the impossible. Faith is the chemist of the mind. When thought is mixed with faith, the subconscious immediately picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence. Most people are broadcasting on the frequency of fear. Fear is nothing more than faith in reverse. It is a strong conviction that something bad will happen. It uses the exact same mechanism as faith, imagination, and emotion, but it directs it toward destruction. The man who worries constantly is a master of visualization. He is simply visualizing his own demise. Cosmic habit force takes that worry, locks it in as a habit of thought, and begins to manifest the very things he fears. That which I feared has come upon me, said Job. It is a law. You must switch the dial. You must cultivate faith with the same relentless discipline that a bodybuilder cultivates muscle. Faith is a muscle. It grows through use. It atrophies through neglect. You exercise it by taking action in the face of uncertainty. You exercise it by burning your bridges. When Cortez landed in the New World, he burned his ships. He removed the option of retreat. He told his men, we either win or we die. That is faith. That is a command to the subconscious that says, there is no plan B. There is only victory. When you operate with that level of definiteness, the world gets out of your way. Obstacles that would stop a lukewarm man become stepping stones for the believer. But you cannot maintain this frequency if you are surrounded by static. This brings us to the law of the environment. You cannot plant a healthy seed in toxic soil and expect a harvest. You cannot automate a destiny of greatness. If you are surrounded by the habits of the small, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is not a cliché. It is a calculation of energy transfer. Emotions are contagious. Mindsets are contagious. If you spend your days with people who complain, who gossip, who accept defeat as their lot in life, their vibration will bleed into yours. Cosmic habit force works through association. It harmonizes the group. If the group is drifting, you will drift. If the group is climbing, you will climb. You must ruthlessly curate your environment. You must form a mastermind, an alliance with people whose frequency lifts yours. If you cannot find them in person, find them in books. Find them in history. Let Andrew Carnegie sit at your breakfast table. Let Abraham Lincoln walk with you to work. Let Henry Ford advise you on persistence. These men are not dead. Their thoughts, their principles, their vibrations are immortal, preserved in the ether of their legacy. Invite them into your council. When Henry Ford decided to build the V8 engine, he called his engineers and told them what he wanted. They told him it was impossible. They said the block could not be cast in one piece. Ford said, produce it anyway. 6 months passed. Nothing. Another 6 months. Nothing. The engineers came to him and said, we have tried everything. It is a technical impossibility. Ford did not blink. He did not waver. He was tuned to the frequency of the reality where the engine already existed. He said, go right ahead. I want it, and I'll have it. And he got it. Ford was not an engineer. He was a believer. He understood that the how is the servant of the what. When the what is definite and the desire is white hot, the how will reveal itself. But you get stuck on the how. You analyze yourself into paralysis. You wait for the roadmap before you start the car. You want guarantees. There are no guarantees in the realm of creation, only opportunities. This requires a transmutation of energy. You have within you a reservoir of raw, primal energy. Napoleon Hill spoke of the mystery of sex transmutation, the ability to take the most potent drive in human nature, the desire for sexual expression, and redirect it into creative effort. It is the same energy. It is the life force itself. The drifter dissipates this energy in fleeting pleasures, in distractions, in outbursts of anger. The master harnesses it. He puts a dam in the river and forces the water through the turbines of his purpose. When you feel that restlessness, that agitation, that hunger, do not numb it. Do not scroll it away. That is your fuel. That is the raw material of your destiny screaming to be used. Sit down and write. Stand up and build. Go out and sell. Transmute that nervous energy into kinetic action. Action is the bridge between the inner world of thought and the outer world of results. But not just any action. Organized action, persistent action. The universe does not reward activity. It rewards productivity. You can run on a treadmill all day and go nowhere. You must move with a definite chief aim. Every action must be a brick in the wall of the cathedral you are building. If it does not fit, discard it. Efficiency is the hallmark of the master. And as you begin to move, as you begin to transmute your thoughts into things, you will meet the guardian at the gate. You will meet adversity. Do not mistake adversity for a stop sign. It is not a stop sign. It is a test of your resolve. It is the universe checking your credentials. You say you want this. Show me. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. This is the alchemy of success. The drifter looks at a failure and sees a tombstone. The master looks at a failure and sees a stepping stone. When Thomas Edison watched his laboratory burn to the ground, destroying years of work and millions of dollars, he didn't weep. He woke up his son and said, "Go get your mother and her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again." The next morning, walking through the ashes, he said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." 3 weeks later, he delivered the phonograph. That is the mindset that cosmic habit force favors. The ability to pivot. The ability to remain emotionally detached from the loss while remaining emotionally committed to the vision. You must become anti-fragile. You must be like the Hydra. Cut off one head and two grow back. When life knocks you down, you must bounce, not break. Because here is the truth. The path of least resistance is what makes rivers crooked and men crooked. You are choosing the path of resistance, but you are doing it so often that it becomes the path of least resistance for you. It becomes your nature to overcome. It becomes your habit to win. But you must protect your mind from the hypnotic rhythm of the world. The world wants you to be average. The economy relies on you being a consumer. The media relies on you being fearful. The system is designed to keep you in the herd. To automate your destiny, you must become a wolf. You must be willing to walk alone if necessary. You must be willing to look foolish. You must be willing to be misunderstood. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Einstein said, "Expect the opposition. Welcome it. It means you are disturbing the status quo. It means you are generating friction, and friction creates heat, and heat creates fire. Let them criticize. Let them doubt. Their doubt is not your reality. Their opinions are not your facts. You are building an internal fortress. Inside that fortress, you are the king. You determine the laws. You set the standard. And the highest law of your kingdom is this: I do not drift, I steer. I may be battered by the storm. I may be blown off course, but I never let go of the wheel. I correct. I adjust. I persist. This persistence is not a singular act of bravery. It is a state of mind. It is the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. It is the only antidote to failure. Carbon is the most common element, but when subjected to heat and pressure over time, it becomes a diamond. You are the carbon. Life is the pressure. Persistence is the time. Do not complain about the pressure. The pressure is making you precious. The pressure is making you unbreakable. As you integrate these truths, auto, suggestion, faith, transmutation, persistence, you are programming the software of your soul. You are writing a new code, and cosmic habit force is the hardware that runs that code. Once the installation is complete, the program runs automatically. You will wake up early without an alarm. You will work with focus without a distraction. You will see opportunity where others see ruin. You will attract wealth not by chasing it, but by becoming the kind of person that wealth is naturally attracted to. You are changing your magnetic polarity. For years, you may have repelled success. You chased it, and it ran. Now you are becoming it. You are drawing it in. This is the law of attraction, stripped of the mysticism and grounded in the mechanics of the mind. You attract what you are, and you are what you do repeatedly. So, look at your hands. These are the tools of your trade. Look at your mind. This is the blueprint of your future. The automation process has begun. The old rust is falling away. The gears are being oiled with faith. The furnace is being stoked with desire. The train is leaving the station. But the journey is not linear. There will be plateaus. There will be days when the fog is so thick you cannot see your hand in front of your face. What do you do then? What do you do when the feeling is gone? What do you do when the habit feels like a cage? You trust the law. You trust that the plane is still flying even when you cannot see the ground. You rely on the instruments, not your eyes. Your instruments are your habits. You do the work anyway. You pray anyway. You give anyway. You serve anyway. Because you know that winter always gives way to spring. You know that the tide always turns. You know that cosmic habit force never sleeps, and it is compounding your efforts even when you cannot see the compound interest. You are playing the long game, the infinite game. You are not here for a quick win. You are here for a legacy. And legacies are built on the bedrock of character, engraved by the chisel of habit. Continue the work. Deepen the channel. The water is rising. The momentum is building. And soon, the dam will break, and the flood of your destiny will wash over the earth. This brings us to the immutable law of compensation. You cannot escape the ledger of the universe. Emerson wrote about it, Hill preached it, and nature demonstrates it every single day. The law states simply you get out what you put in, but with compound interest. Most people are trying to cheat this law. They are standing in front of the stove saying, "Give me heat, and then I will put in the wood." They want the salary before the service. They want the physique before the sweat. They want the victory before the war. But the cosmic habit force only recognizes the debt of service rendered. If you do only what you are paid to do, you will never be paid more than you are getting now. That is the mathematics of mediocrity. To automate your ascent, you must adopt the habit of going the extra mile. This is not about being a martyr. It is about being a merchant of value. It is about rendering more service and better service than you are paid to render, and doing it with a positive mental attitude. When you do more than is expected, you place the universe in your debt. You create a vacuum of value that nature must fill. It is a law as real as gravity. If you consistently over-deliver, if you consistently bring an energy and an excellence that exceeds the contract, the law of compensation must correct the imbalance. It corrects it with opportunity. It corrects it with reputation. It corrects it with wealth. Look at the titans of industry. They did not clock out when the whistle blew. Andrew Carnegie's executives were known for their obsession with doing the unnecessary, the unexpected, the extraordinary. They understood that the man who does only what is required is a slave to the requirement. But the man who does more than is required is the master of his fate. He makes himself indispensable. And in a world of automated mediocrity, being indispensable is the ultimate currency. But hard work alone is not enough. A man can dig a ditch with a spoon for 20 years. He works harder than anyone, but he builds nothing. You must couple your effort with specialized knowledge. We live in an age of drowning information but starving wisdom. You do not need more content. You need a plan. You need organized knowledge directed toward a definite end. General knowledge is of little use in the accumulation of money. The universities are filled with men who possess general knowledge but possess little else. You must specialize. You must become the master of one thing. You must know your craft so deeply that your intuition takes over. When you combine specialized knowledge with the habit of the extra mile, you become a force that the market cannot ignore. You move from being a commodity to being a monopoly. Yet, even with knowledge and effort, you are still limited by the hours in the day and the energy in your veins. This is where you must unlock the greatest multiplier of all, the mastermind. Napoleon Hill defined the mastermind as the coordination of knowledge and effort between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose in a spirit of harmony. Understand the physics of this. A single battery provides a certain amount of energy, but link two batteries together and you increase the power. Link a dozen and you can start an engine. When you align your mind with the minds of others, when you harmonize your frequencies, you create a third, invisible mind. This is the mastermind. It is a psychic entity that possesses the sum total of the intelligence of the group, plus a connection to the infinite storehouse. You cannot succeed alone. The self-made man is a myth. Every man who rises above the crowd is being lifted by the hands of others. He is leveraging the experience, the capital, and the imagination of his alliance. But notice the key word, harmony. A group without harmony is not a mastermind. It is a disaster. It is a collection of conflicting frequencies that cancel each other out. You must protect the harmony of your alliance with your life. You must check your ego at the door. You are not there to be right. You are there to be rich. Rich in spirit, rich in impact, rich in result. As you build this momentum, mastering your mind, serving with excellence, allying with power, you will face the final, silent enemies. They are the ghosts that haunt the corridors of the subconscious. They are the 6 ghosts of fear. They are the saboteurs of cosmic habit force. If you do not banish them, they will rot your success from the inside out. The first and most deadly is the fear of poverty. It paralyzes the faculty of reason. It destroys imagination. It kills self-reliance. It makes you hoard when you should invest. It makes you timid when you should be bold. It whispers that money is scarce, and you should be grateful for the crumbs. You must exorcise this ghost. You must realize that poverty is not a lack of money. It is a state of mind. Nature is abundant. The leaves on the trees, the blades of grass, the waves of the ocean. Nature does not know lack. Lack is a human invention. Then comes the fear of criticism. This is the ghost that keeps you silent. It is the fear of what they will say. It steals your initiative. It makes you dress like the herd, talk like the herd, and think like the herd. It kills your individuality. Remember, this criticism is the defense mechanism of the mediocre. When you are criticized, it is a sign that you have risen above the noise. Do not fear it. Wear it as a badge of honor. A man with no enemies is a man with no character. The fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, the fear of death. These ghosts are nothing but shadows cast by your own mind. They have no power other than the power you give them. But if you dwell on them, cosmic habit force will take them and make them your reality. If you fear sickness, you will manifest symptoms. If you fear loneliness, you will push people away. You must replace these fears with their counter, acting impulses. Replace the fear of poverty with the habit of gratitude and the demand for prosperity. Replace the fear of criticism with the habit of conviction. Replace the fear of death with a burning passion for life. You cannot fight darkness with a sword. You fight it by turning on the light. This brings us to the grand intersection, the moment of decision. Procrastination is the twin sister of fear. It is the habit of waiting for tomorrow. But tomorrow is a promissory note that is never redeemed. Today is cash. The successful man reaches decisions promptly and changes them slowly. The failure reaches decisions slowly and changes them rapidly. Why do you hesitate? Because you are afraid of making a mistake. But indecision is the biggest mistake of all. Indecision is a decision. It is the decision to drift. It is the decision to let the winds of chance blow you onto the rocks. Cosmic habit force does not wait for you to make up your mind. If you do not choose a destination, it will choose one for you, and you will not like where it leads. You must develop the habit of speed. Speed is a weapon. The universe loves speed. When an idea flashes into your mind, that divine spark of inspiration, act on it immediately. Do not let it cool. Do not talk it to death. Do not analyze it into oblivion. Execute. Even an imperfect action is better than a perfect plan that never leaves the drawing board. Action creates data. Action creates clarity. Action creates the feedback loop you need to adjust and improve. Think of the Wright brothers. They didn't have a perfect blueprint. They crashed. They broke ribs. They failed. But they acted. They decided that humans would fly, and they refused to accept the reality where gravity was the master. They made gravity a servant. They used the laws of physics against themselves to create lift. You must do the same. Use the weight of your past. Use the gravity of your failures. Use the resistance of your struggles to create the lift you need to soar. You are rewriting your history in real time. Every moment is a crossroads. Every thought is a vote. You are either reinforcing the chains of the past or forging the wings of the future. The cosmic habit force is the great cementing agent. It is waiting for your instructions. It is neutral. It is powerful. It is relentless. But there is one final element, one secret ingredient that transforms success from a burden into a blessing. It is the understanding of purpose. Why do you want what you want? If it is only for greed, only for status, only for the applause of the crowd, you will find that the victory is hollow. You will reach the top of the mountain and find it cold and lonely. Your definite chief aim must be bigger than you. It must serve a need. It must elevate humanity. When your purpose is rooted in service, when your ambition is fueled by contribution, you tap into a reservoir of energy that is inexhaustible. You align yourself with the evolutionary impulse of the universe itself. You are no longer just a man or a woman trying to get rich. You are an instrument of progress. And when you become an instrument, the music changes. The struggle disappears. You are in the flow. This is the state where the writer writes without thinking, where the athlete moves without effort, where the leader speaks without a script. It is the state of flow. But Hill called it being in tune with the infinite. You are almost there. You have the map. You have the tools. You understand the law. The only thing left is to cross the threshold, to step out of the grandstand and onto the playing field, to stop being a spectator of your own life and become the director. The automation of your destiny is not a fantasy. It is a biological and spiritual fact. You are a bundle of habits. You are a robot of your own making. The question is not, can I change? The question is, will I reprogram the robot? Will I take the controls? The next 90 days will pass regardless of what you do. The time will go. The sun will rise and set. The seasons will change. The question is, where will you be when the 90 days are up? Will you be in the same place, fighting the same ghosts, bound by the same chains? Or will you be standing on new ground, breathing new air, powered by a momentum so strong that nothing can stand in your way? The choice is yours. But the choice must be made now, not later, now. The universe is holding its breath. The cosmic habit force is poised. The pen is in your hand. What will you write? You must understand that the separation between the you, that you are and the you, that you want to be is only a mirage. It is a thin veil of habit. You can tear that veil. You can burn that veil. You can step through it this very instant. Do not look back. The past is a dead thing. It has no power over you unless you carry its corpse on your shoulders. Drop it. Let the dead bury the dead. You are alive. You are here. You are ready. Focus on the vision. Fix your eyes on the horizon. The storm may rage, but you are the captain. The ship is yours. The ocean is yours. And the destination is guaranteed if you do not quit. Listen closely. Can you hear it? The hum of the machine. The rhythm of the universe. It is the sound of your destiny coming online. It is the sound of the cosmic habit force locking into place. It is the sound of your inevitability. Do not fear your power. Embrace it. You were born for this. You were built for this. You are not an accident. You are an intentional creation endowed with the God-like power to shape your reality through thought and habit. Rise up. The world is sleeping. Wake them up with your success. Wake them up with your light. Wake them up by showing them what is possible when a human being aligns with the laws of the universe. This is your time. This is your command. This is your destiny. Automate it. Own it. Live it. But let there be no illusion. The moment you step off this ledge of decision, the moment you declare war on your old self, the silence will return. The music will fade. The adrenaline will wash out of your blood, and you will be left with nothing but the raw, unvarnished reality of the work in front of you. This is the dangerous hour. This is the hour where the drifter turns back, whispering to himself that it was just a phase, just a dream, just a moment of madness. You must be prepared for this silence. You must understand that the automation of your destiny is not a perpetual fireworks display. It is the quiet, humming vibration of a machine running at full capacity. It is the solitude of the long-distance runner. It is the stillness of the monk. Real power does not make noise. It simply is. When you look in the mirror tomorrow morning, you may not see the change on the surface. The world will not applaud you simply because you have decided to change. In fact, the world will likely test you. The car will break down. The deal will fall through. The critic will speak louder. This is not a sign to stop. It is the universe verifying your signature on the contract. It is asking, did you mean it? You must answer with your actions. You must answer with a calmness that unsettles your enemies and inspires your friends. You must tap into that other self that Napoleon Hill spoke of, that entity within you that knows no fear, acknowledges no limitation, and accepts no defeat. That other self is waiting for your permission to take the lead. It has been locked away in the dungeon of your doubts for too long. Release it. Let it drive. This is the ultimate mastery of cosmic habit force. When you trust your training enough to let go of the anxiety of the outcome, you detach from the result because you are so fully immersed in the process. You are no longer working for success. You are working from success. You are not chasing the trophy. You are embodying the champion. The trophy is just the dust that settles after the race is run. Think of the stonecutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow it will split in two, and I know it was not that blow that did it, but all that had gone before. You are striking the rock. Do not stop because you do not see the crack. The physics of the universe guarantees that the crack is coming. The breakthrough is accumulating beneath the surface. You are building a cathedral of character. It takes time. It takes sweat. It takes the willingness to lay bricks in the rain. But unlike the physical buildings of men, which crumble and fade, the temple you build within your mind is eternal. The habits you forge, the discipline you master, the spirit you cultivate, these are the only things you can truly call your own. Everything else, money, fame, possessions, is borrowed. It can be given and it can be taken away. But who you become cannot be taken. It is burnt into your soul. So burn the boats, cut the safety nets, remove the rearview mirror. There is nothing back there for you but ghosts and regrets. The past is a canceled check. The future is a promissory note. The present is the only cash you have. Spend it wisely. Invest it in the habit of excellence. invested in the thought of power, invested in the action of love. You are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. These are not just lines from a poem. They are the operating instructions for the human machine. The wheel is in your hands. The stars are aligning overhead. The cosmic habit force is filling your sails. Do not drift. Do not waver. Do not apologize for your ambition. The world needs your light. It needs your strength. It needs the example of a human being who refused to settle for mediocrity and dared to touch the hem of greatness. Walk forward now, not with a shout, but with a quiet, unshakable certainty. The path is clear. The laws are set. The destiny is yours. Go and never look back. And as you walk, you must make peace with the clock. You must understand that patience is not the passive waiting of a victim. It is the active, vibrating endurance of a master. Nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. The oak does not envy the grass which grows in a week and withers in a month. The oak is playing a different game. It is playing the game of centuries. You are building an oak, not a weed. Do not measure your growth by the speed of the superficial. Measure it by the depth of your roots. This is where the law of rhythm comes into play. The tide goes out, but it always comes back. The pendulum swings to the right, but it must swing to the left. There will be seasons in your journey where the harvest seems distant, where the work feels heavy, where the silence of the universe is deafening. The drifter panics in the winter. He thinks the sun has died. He abandons his field and seeks warmth in the cheap comforts of mediocrity. But the master knows that winter is necessary. Winter is when the earth rests and replenishes. Winter is when the roots go deep to find water. You will face your winter. You will face the moment where your results flatline. This is the plateau of latent potential. It is the most dangerous phase of the journey because it is the greatest illusion. It looks like failure. It feels like stagnation. But it is neither. It is the cosmic habit force gathering potential energy. It is the archer pulling back the bowstring. The further back it is pulled, the more tension is created, and the farther the arrow will fly. But if you let go of the string too early, if you lose your nerve because of the tension, the arrow falls at your feet. Remember the story of R.U. Darby, the man who stopped 3 feet from gold. He had the machinery. He had the desire. He had the mine. He dug and dug, but the vein of gold disappeared. Despair set in. The habit of quitting, which had been lurking in his subconscious, seized the wheel. He sold his machinery to a junk man for a few $100s and took the train home in defeat. The junk man, however, was not a drifter. He called in a mining engineer, a man of specialized knowledge. The engineer calculated the fault lines and said, "The gold is just 3 feet from where Darby stopped digging." The junk man became a millionaire because he knew the difference between temporary defeat and failure. Defeat is a signal to change your plan. Failure is a decision to quit. Darby failed because he lacked the resilience to push through the silence. He let the visible lack of gold blind him to the invisible reality of the vein just inches away. You are digging. You are sweating. And you may be 3 feet from your breakthrough right now. Cosmic habit force often tests a man just before it rewards him. It throws a final, massive obstacle in his path, a hypnotic rhythm of difficulty, to see if he will fold. This is the resistance of the air before the sound barrier is broken. The shaking is violent. The noise is terrifying. But if you push the throttle forward, if you hold the line, the shaking stops, the silence returns, and you are flying at supersonic speed. Do not be the man who stops 3 feet from gold. Do not be the man who turns back at the sound barrier. You must develop a relationship with temporary defeat. You must welcome it as a trainer. When defeat comes, do not look at it as a stop sign. Look at it as a detour sign. Ask it, "What are you here to teach me? What seed of equivalent benefit do you carry?" Napoleon Hill promised that every adversity carries this seed. It is a law, but you have to crack open the prickly shell of the problem to find the nut of the opportunity. This requires a mental toughness that is rare in this soft age. We are addicted to comfort. We are addicted to the hack, the shortcut, the easy button, but there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs, and sometimes the stairs are broken. Sometimes the lights go out in the stairwell. That is when you climb by feel. That is when you climb by faith. Your habits are your handrails in the dark. When you cannot see the next step, you rely on the ritual. You wake up. You state your aim. You do the work. You express gratitude. You repeat. You let the automation of your character carry you through the blackout. This is how you survive the winter. This is how you reach the gold. And as you persist, as you refuse to accept the reality of defeat, a strange thing begins to happen. The serendipity of the universe begins to accelerate. You start to meet people who just happen to have the answer you need. You stumble upon books that just happen to unlock the next door. You find yourself in the right place at the right time. The skeptics call this luck. The master knows there is no such thing as luck. It is the convergence of preparation and opportunity. It is the cosmic habit force arranging the chessboard in your favor because you have proven you are a grandmaster. You are magnetizing the ether. Your dominant thoughts, electrified by the emotion of faith and sustained by the habit of persistence, are bending probability. You are collapsing the wave function of the universe into a single point, your success. But you must remain humble. Success is a heady wine. It intoxicates the ego. When the winds start coming, and they will come, do not think you are the sole author of your glory. You are a channel. You are a steward of the power that flows through you. The moment you become arrogant, the moment you stop serving, the moment you think you have arrived, you cut the connection. The current stops. The stagnation returns. The true master is a student forever. He knows that the mountain has no top. There is always another peak. There is always a higher level of service, a deeper level of wisdom, a broader level of impact. You must remain pliable. You must remain curious. You must maintain the beginner's mind even when you are the expert in the room. This is the cycle of growth. Learn, master, transcend. Learn, master, transcend. It is a spiral that goes up and up, closer and closer to the infinite. And as you climb, your view changes. You stop worrying about your own survival. You stop worrying about what you can get, and you start obsessing over what you can give. This is the final transition, the transition from success to significance. Success is what you attract to yourself. Significance is what you leave behind. Cosmic habit force is not just a tool for personal accumulation. It is a tool for generational transformation. You are not just changing your life, you are changing the lineage of your family. You are breaking the generational curses of poverty, addiction, and fear. You are the cycle breaker. You are the new ancestor. Think of the habits you are installing today, not just as tools for your career, but as the genetic code of your legacy. Your children are watching. They do not listen to what you say, they watch what you do. They absorb your vibrations. If you live in fear, you teach them fear. If you live in courage, you teach them courage. If you automate discipline, you gift them a blueprint for their own mastery. You are building a dynasty of the mind. You are lighting a torch that will be carried by hands you will never shake, into a future you will never see. That is the weight of this work. That is the gravity of your decision. It is not just about you. It never was. So, when the fatigue sets in, when the doubt whispers, when the road seems too long, remember the faces of those who will come after you. Remember that you are clearing the path for them. You are hacking through the jungle so they can walk on a road. You are suffering the winter so they can live in the spring. Let that purpose fuel you. Let it pull you forward when willpower fails. Let it be the magnificent obsession that consumes your life. You have the knowledge. You have the power. You have the law. The cosmic habit force is waiting for your consistent, persistent, burning command. Do not let this moment fade into a memory of something inspiring I once heard. Make it the turning point of history, your history. Stand tall. Breathe deep. The machine is running. The stars are watching. The future is waiting. Your destiny is no longer a question mark. It is a command. It is done.